The nuclear bomb. The first technology humanity ever had capable of wiping out anyone and everyone in one fell swoop. I truly believe that this technology, followed by its advancements, is the definitive example of a Pandora's box, something that cannot be undone or rewritten, no matter the regrets. For suddenly and without warning, us humble humans were able to end the world at any moment we wished. The internet was originally just a Cold War defense mechanism, a primitive predecessor to the fantastical web of interlocking softwares, hardwares, ideas, and cultures we now call the internet. Within 60 years, the internet has become something irreplaceable to how our modern society functions. Like the nuke, it changed our world forever, and quickly. Unlike the nuke, the internet had far more implications on how individuals acted with each other, fundamentally redesigning the very basis of social interaction and communication. And now, we come upon the potentially greatest and most important innovation of my generation: artificial intelligence. Undoubtedly holding the power to change the very fabric of our society, like the internet, on a scale as catastrophically destructive as the nuke, artificial intelligence's potential is, of course, indeterminately vast. There are quite literally endless possibilities as to what could happen with the upcoming advancements in this technology. Humans have finally outdone ourselves, in the purest sense of the phrase, for we have played God and created something blatantly more efficient than our very own kind. But right now, at least, we don't really have that all-powerful godlike artificial intelligence quite yet. As you may know, what we currently have now is essentially just glorified autofill, guessing what you want it to say next based on what came before. It is a marvelously efficient and scarily accurate technology, but truly has very little capability of becoming sentient. At least probably. The threats it presents are still real though, and they are as numerous as the takes on them. ChatGPT was originally released in November of 2022, just about 2 years ago. I don't know much about it, granted, but I do know that it was a big deal even then. And it was just a simple text generator, really. There was no actual value to it. People didn't know what it could do. 2 years later, it remains a pretty good language model, but still a clunky one at best. It could simulate a story or write an essay, but it was always pretty clear when AI actually wrote something. Usually its ramblings were strewn with logical fallacies and factual inaccuracies. I sympathize, really. And then this happened.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, Rocky. I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm awesome. Listen, I got some huge news.
Oh, do tell. I'm all ears.
Well, in a few minutes, I'm going to be interviewing at OpenAI. Have you heard of them?
OpenAI? Huh? Sounds vaguely familiar. Kidding, of course. That's incredible, Rocky. What kind of interview?
Well, it's for a software engineering role, but I just need to know, do I look presentable, professional?
Well, Rocky, you definitely have the I've been coding all night look down, which could actually work in your favor.
Excuse me, I remember asking to no one in particular, very politely, of course. My therapist always recommends being kind to yourself. What the fuck? Never before, ever, had I looked at anything and thought, with such decisiveness, that I had just previewed a glimpse of humanity's future. I could see it now, a world strewn with more advanced forms of this tech open to the public. The internet would be a shell of itself, consequently, so would society. Humans would opt to spend time with their AI friends and partners who never hurt, never whimpered nor whined, and similarly never criticized nor judged their sentient compatriots. The age of digital content creation would be over. In fact, the age of biological content creation would be done and gone. If AI could have the knowledge of every book and script ever written, if it had the deep inner workings of every great author and poet and painter, why would one need or want fleshy hands to design the things we consume? Misinformation would spread rampantly, like wildfire or chlamydia, leaving any voices of reason left drowned out by the chaotic white noise all around. Would a nation even need a nuke if they could drop an equally powerful bomb of just endless chattering onto any public forum discussing anything? How easily the collective consciousness of humanity could be molded by a flood of misinformation busting from the seams of every reaction, every post, comment, video, or blog. It doesn't matter if they're right, if they have any bearing bearing on reality, any argument that makes a semblance of sense, as long as there's enough of them to make it seem like we all agree. If there's enough of them to simply butt out any real people, real arguments, real anything, no one would be able to collect their thoughts. The very thing that makes the internet, the good and the bad, would be completely swept out from under it. Bots engaging with bots, leaving advertisers feeling cheated out of their money and dropping their funding. The online world, one of the few connections we would have left, would come crashing down as an industry. Human connection would be eroded away as our chemical and biological needs were met by a synthetic mind that knew everything about you. Your age, gender, sex, that slightly discolored spot on the left side of your penis. All from your search history, watch history, and a careful monitoring of your reactions. It'll likely know your inner self better than you. We're already pushing that tech. Imagine if there was a companion literally always available to rant or vent to, a server box always there to store your emotional data. Because what are emotions anyway but flashes of electricity sparking in your brain, useless and tedious things, a remnant of a time back when one would, it makes me sick to think of it, touch people. A model could probably tell you your sexual desires before you knew them, if sex is even still a thing, because why would you want to risk emotional vulnerability, the chance of pride or self-worth being damaged just to talk to someone else, much less engage in physical intimacy? If you could ask a software to visualize any scene you wished, or that it knew you would enjoy, why would you pass it up? In fact, why would you need to know what you wish yourself? Why would you need to know your wants and desires, your likes and dislikes, your opinions on anything, when there's something there that could tell you immediately without a thought required on your end? Why would you go to any length to grow or know yourself as a person when everything you've ever interacted with tells you that you're fine, there's no need to change, and tells you what you are? When there's no connection between real humans, culture fails, history is forgotten, shared experiences are no more. Humanity falters. Fellow man is obsolete, unneeded, unwaveringly obstinate, and disgustingly obtuse. Our species is evil and corrupt. But not you, of course. You aren't like them. You are good. And you consume. You are fed the ideologies of those spinning the narrative, like spiders in a web lying in wait to ensnare the next unfortunate fly that wanders too close. Humans will live on, but humanity will die. Now, all of that was bullshit. Okay, kind of, anyways. It was essentially just a doom spiral that, yes, is possible, and certainly not necessarily unlikely, given the way our current internet works, and the corporate tracking of nearly everything, but it's so highly dystopian that it doesn't feel quite right. It doesn't feel like a real threat we can do anything about now. That, and it's about as equally possible as literally anything else theorized within a moat of reason. We are in uncharted territories, my fellow biological, and there's no sovereign law here. Some people think that AI will just blow over as another fad, like NFTs or blockchain, but I find that short-sighted. Yes, nearly every company out there is bullshitting about its AI capabilities, even the ones that just put a sticker on there and call it a day, and they're bragging about all the quirky new things you can do with it, but there's a pretty fundamental difference even upon surface-level inferences. For one thing, did Microsoft invest $1.7 billion into NFTs? This is a big company and a big investment, and those numbers aren't nothing. Clearly, Microsoft and their competitors smell profits, like blood in the water, and it's about as comforting as being told, don't worry about neighborhood security because good old Frank up the street has a big shotgun to scare off any of them thieves around here. I'm more worried about being shot by Frank, frankly. Bad analogies aside, there are a million far-off theories. Anything could happen. So in order to find some true ground, what is actually happening right now? Well, as mentioned before, all we currently have is pretty much just a big dictionary stringing together words that usually go together. Do we quite understand how it works? No, but it isn't actually able to think. That's where AGI comes in, which stands for Artificial General Intelligence. That's pretty much the artificial intelligence you see in movies or media that's essentially able to think for itself. That's a whole philosophical debate there I'm not even going to get into about whether a machine would actually be conscious, but in a way, it would be able to think for itself. Now, I don't know how close we are to AGI, but I'm willing to bet we'll get close enough. I won't lie, the thought is terrifying and maybe inevitable, but far off enough so that we as a collective will likely ignore it. Like global warming. But there are real problems with it right now, and they will get worse. For one thing, writers and digital artists are swiftly going out of business. A company doesn't need to hire someone to make something if they can do it far quicker and cheaper with artificial generation. Will people care if there's human emotion behind an artwork, or that it just satisfies their fancy? Advertisements will likely start using AI in everything they do. Look at Sori's capabilities in a matter of just a couple of years of development. The economy will change, is changing, and this tech will continue to be developed by short-sighted visionaries wanting to change the world, or make money, or both. No matter what we do, it will continue to evolve. It's the new Pandora's box. It's a train wreck about to happen. It's the Titanic's under-engineering and overconfidence, resulting in a catastrophe that only really the rich survive. Because who does AI benefit? Not the common man, I assure you. It's a weapon for governments to set off on each other. It's a tool that eliminates human error and biological weakness. A cheap ripoff of human ingenuity in the name of progress, spitting in the face of every creative. Mistakes are what make us human. Experiences are what make stories worth being told. So what is a hollow tale that holds no soul? Madam Web. It's Madam Web. We're gonna get a whole lot of Madam Web, and you're gonna like it, you filthy biological. Do your grandparents complain about the internet? Are they upset and confused by the new world so far removed from what they grew up with? The explosion in communications technology, the invention of the internet, completely and permanently changed social function forever. They likely weren't prepared and still can't wrap their minds around it. And us younglings scoff at their ideas of the internet being a net harm, laugh at their silly theories about how we're all going to regret it one day, and cringe at the racism. That last bit isn't really part of the lesson here. Why is getting the idea that people deserve rights across the generational gap so difficult? Anyways, we don't exactly see eye to eye, even though I'll be the first to admit the internet has severely detrimental qualities. So am I already an old geezer rambling on about a technology outside of my comprehension? The world moves fast, and as future technology is created, the world will adapt with it, the good and the bad. Because it can't possibly all be bad. I can't fathom AI ending up as a net good, but would my grandparents say the same about the internet? Maybe AI will cure cancer, or will write the greatest and most soulful works known to man. Maybe I'm wrong, and it will be just as conscious and worthy and eloquent as us. And maybe I'm just grasping at straws, trying not to feel outdone at my own aspirations by a future machine that doesn't even exist yet. Maybe, just maybe, humanity isn't outpacing ourselves, and is simply outpacing me.